we were actually talking to Julian Ashby just a little bit earlier, and we were talking about special teams. For people that are undrafted free agents trying to make that roster, the 53-man, how important is special teams in that path and trying to make that final roster?
Yeah, I mean, it's super tough, especially as an undrafted guy. The margin of error you have is almost none. So being able to be, a contributing factor on special teams, whatever phase you're in, if you're not a first or second rounder, you're probably going to be on special teams. So especially as an undrafted guy, you take special teams super serious.
What's that process like throughout OTAs, the off season? Do you guys run a lot of special teams drills with just a bunch of guys, see who just stands out, and they just determine who's on special teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think every organization is a little different, but we definitely practice special teams. It's a huge part of the game. It's a third of the game along with offense and defense. So, you got to, it's like, anybody who's going to battle, you got to sharpen your sword before you go out there to make sure, you do well. So, every team, I could say, practices special teams during OTAs. It's a little harder with no pads on, but once you do get the pads on, you get to see who's really about special teams.
You having that background of not just a safety, but also wide receiver, being a wide receiver at Oregon, how does that help being a gunner, I guess first with wide receiver and then a safety doing punt coverage?
Yeah, I think, as a gunner, a lot of releases that you use are like wide receiver releases. And then in plus 50, being able to look back and, track the ball if you're kick side. As a receiver, you do that on a goal ball. So, I think it's a huge crossover, especially, being able to play receiver, understanding what happens at the line of scrimmage, and then being able to track the ball in the air in, plus 50 situations.
And who are some other gunners in the league? Because I know we always talk about Matthew Slater being one of those best of all time. Now you are in that conversation currently in the NFL. Who are some other gunners around the NFL that we should give some love to?
I mean, Mac Hollins did it for a long time when he was a young buck in his career, and then you got Franklin down in Buffalo, who's a hell of a gunner. I love playing against him, twice a year, and I could just keep going down the list of really good gunners in the league that you respect and you just see on film. So it's awesome to see special teams getting the love that it deserves.
And the final question I have for you: your opponent coming up, the Seattle Seahawks, Rashid Shaheed is very well known at being that amazing return specialist. What are your thoughts on him and the matchup coming up against Shaheed?
Yeah, he's a super dynamic returner that can turn on the burners at any moment, and if he hits a crease and hits at full speed, it's going to be really hard to tackle him. So just being able to affect him, stop his feet when we can, get him to stop and go, and then rally to the ball.
Well, hey man, you make special teams a lot of fun to watch. So thanks, man. Good luck.
Thank you very much.